Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we are elated to have you here. As always, we have a great for you. And for all of you fashionistas out there, listen, you have one of the world's best with us this evening, Mr. Byron Lars of Byron Beauty Mark. Now, obviously, you have noticed the same last name. I mean, I know you guys know that, and that's okay. However, this brother is going to be bringing the pain this evening, and we want you to feel very comfortable to grab one of those cameras if you'd like to FaceTime Byron and ask him any questions. You do not have to put them in the box unless you're comfortable putting them in the box, or you can grab a camera. We only ask that if you do grab a camera, once you've asked your question and gotten your answer, is that you relinquish the camera for others to grab it if they so choose. But anyway, enough of that. All the preliminaries out of the way. Listen, this evening is all about fashion. We're having a fashion talk here. We have Byron Lars. And listen, guys, I wouldn't dare attempt to try to tell you all of the things that Byron has done and the adventures he's made. And I've asked him already to tell you a little bit about how he even got into this fashion process. Because I have given two or three versions, and I don't think any of them are correct. So, Byron, good evening, my friend.
Hey, how's it going, Melvin?
Listen, my brother, I am
Bye.
doing I'm doing great, and it is so great to have you here with us. And I just want to say to you, man, is that it's an honor. I know that your time is of a premium, and I know that you've been in fashion for quite some time, and you've done quite well with this process. And sadly, when I talk to people sometime and I ask them about it, I say, well, listen, you guys are always talking about black dolls and this kind of thing. I said, about 20 years ago, I said, Mattel had some black dolls out by Byron Lars, or Byron Beauty Mark. And they go, I think I remember something about that. So this evening, they can ask you first and foremost. So listen, let me formally say, welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guy show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here on the Nobody Asked Me Guys show.
Well, listen, as we roll this thing out, if you will give our audience just a tidbit of how you actually got started with this entire process.
Um, okay, I'd be happy to, but first, I think I'd be remiss without addressing the fact that, like, you know, I'm in fashion. We're here talking about fashion in the middle of a global pandemic, which there's clearly bigger things going on in everybody's life right now than fashion. But entertainment has been a big part of this equation that's like kept me from, jumping out of the window. I only live on the third floor, so it wouldn't be very far, but still, you know what I'm saying. And just the notion of everybody's like focused on like essential workers and all that, and thank God for them because they kept everything like as normal as it could be under these circumstances. When you can actually go to the grocery store and like you know get a box of Fruity Pebbles if that's your thing, and just like know that the world's gonna be okay because you got it, and all that. And then, it brings into question like what each of us does that we're home and like that may not be as essential in terms of like getting us through this crisis, but in the full scope of America and the world and how it works, we are all essential. So I had to like work through some of that through all of this time to think about it and all that. So I just wanted to start there. We're talking about fashion, but we're definitely,
Well, listen,
in
I am happy that you started there. So if you would just allow me just to piggyback and say, I agree with you 200%. And quite honestly, you probably should tell me to be ashamed of myself because we have about 20 nurses in the family, if not 21. We have pharmacists in the family, and we just and a few doctors here or there. So yes, we have essential, and I'm sure probably most of our listeners, if not all of them, do so as well. So please continue.
and thank God for all of them because man, it's like they're really going through it right now to keep us safe, and that's why it's like in spite of the conflicting messaging that's going on out of Washington, we all got to wear our masks when we're out there to keep each other safe.
Yes.
You know, that's just so okay. That's enough of politics now. Anyway, so the irony is not lost on me that like you have like two burly black men here talking about ladies' fashion. So let's address.
And you know what, man? And you know what? Not a problem. We both love 100%, so it's not a problem. We both. I'm going to learn something.
And with that, you know what? Talking about loving ladies, it's like that's a big part of the motivation behind what I do. It's like really providing some product that like make women feel beautiful and powerful and able to go out there and, you know, do their thing at full capacity. So that's a big part of the motivation of why I do what I do. Started making clothes in high school, which was so many years ago. I'm not even going there. But anyway, a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, taught me how to sew because I wanted her to make me a pair of pants. She was like, I will not do that, but I will show you the ins and outs of how this machine works so you can make your own pants. And then, you know, this will give you some idea of when it was in the 80s. So baggies were everything. And this was like before, though, they were at the mall. This was when they were only at designer level. So if you want a pair of baggies, they're going to cost you like $500 from Versace or somebody. And, you know, clearly that wasn't going to happen. So, and clearly they didn't have any patterns for baggies, you know, in the pattern books at the fabric store. So I was basically left to have to kind of fashion a pair out of newspaper. And so showed me how the machine worked and everything. I kind of knew what a pant pattern looked like from watching her sew her own pants and stuff from the pattern book there and stuff. And they came out really great. Kids all loved them. I loved them. Great. And that was pretty the end of it. But a high school friend who was a year older than me was going to prom. She wanted a dress. Something that nobody had. And I was thinking like, I can make you a dress for $150, which to me was like a fortune then. $150. My God. So, you know, I sketched something up on, I don't know, like typing paper, which is still primarily my sketching paper of choice. And made it, you know, by like taking her measurements and making a pattern on a newspaper again. And it came out really great. You know, she looked great. Surprisingly, I mean, that's something that like only like a young person could do. You know what I mean? They just have no fear. No, I can't. It's just like, I can't even imagine what would have happened if it did come out great.
Right.
I mean, that would have been like one of those stories that you still be telling when this guy like ruined my prom night, telling me to do this. Like I gave him $150. Anyway, came out great. Everybody liked it. She had a great time. I was an underclassman, so I wasn't going to prom. But then I heard all these great reviews afterwards. And then, you know, that was super empowering.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that, especially at that age, you know, to be able to like make something with your own hands that was like super important in somebody's life. Not only useful, but like it served a definite like purpose. And, you know, that was really where I got kind of bitten by the bug. First of all, and then I made $150. So next year, I had a whole bunch of orders for prom dresses and made a whole bunch of them. Like, that was all good. But that part of, like, really making something that, like, you know, these girls felt great in. And then it was like, this is an important moment and probably one of the most important moments in your young life at that time. And I'm like, you know, that was super, super empowering for me. And I'm like, you know what? I wanted more of that. Before that, I planned to be an architect. That's what I want to do with my life. I guess, you know, architectural drawing classes and stuff had a lot to do with me being able to actually fake those patterns in the early days or whatever. Anyway, fast forward, went to fashion school, came to New York, went to FIT, started working in the industry. But, you know, ironically, that's not really true. Started to say I never really had a designer level job. I worked in places like that did like mass clothes for the masses. And I probably fast forward a little too much, but whatever. Let's just.
That's okay. Well, listen. While you're fast forwarding, just let me share again with our audience. I want them to know that they can grab with the camera. Say grab these spots if they want to come on and FaceTime you. Because Karen Chandler is saying she absolutely feels empowered every time she hear you. And Donna is saying, Byron, you make the most beautiful clothing. She said, thank you. And Dr. D is saying, hi. And we have quite a few guests on here, quite a few visitors here that are supporting you. And we're so happy about that. And we want them to feel free to get one of these cameras.
You know what? I really appreciate that. Every time, a woman shares with me, like, the positive experience that she's had. And even if there was a negative experience, I want to know about it because I want to know what I can do to make it better. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. Like, hey, if everybody tells you you're great, you don't hear that like, okay, that wasn't great at all, and here's what needs fixing. Then we never move forward and grow. But I really love hearing though when a woman like Karen or Dr. Donna, you put on that dress and you kill it in that meeting, or even if you're just like going to brunch, just feeling like, the best version of you, that really makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
You know what? As you share that, as you know, I mean, obviously, we've been following each other all of our lives. And when you got into the fashion world and you started doing fashions, and I would look some of the people up, I'll tell and say, hey man, I said, what's it like to do things with Angela Bassett? I'll tell you, I love Angela, man. And then I saw you doing stuff for excuse me, Taraji P and First Lady Michelle Obama, and certainly Cicely Tyson, man. And as you share about opening up, and as you share about making women feel better about themselves, I mean, what is it like, man? I mean, if you can give me an inkling, give us the audience an inkling of what it's like to know that you have individuals that can go to anyone because they have the celebrity and possibly the means, but they have chosen to wear some of your clothing.
Honestly, I love all those women that you mentioned, all those celebrities, because they're amazing women and they give us a lot of powerful images to like, encourage us and keep us moving forward and everything. But to be honest with you, it's just like I get the same charge from like, Karen, who's telling me here that like, she feels empowered every time she wears something, and Dr. Donna, who is on the front lines right now, going through it and all that. And so I'm so glad that like she can have a little fashion respite we get some or whatever. But of course, you know what? It does feel great though when you know that like these are women who have like experienced, some of the best that the world has to offer in terms of clothes. And yeah, they're here wearing some of ours, and that of course makes me feel great. But it's like it's really no different. It's very little difference for them in terms of what I feel as for any of my customers or any woman that finds herself trying something on and you know what I mean, and looking at herself in the mirror, and especially like the women though that I have to say that like don't think that they can wear my clothes, because a lot of them are pretty body conscious, you know what I mean? And when I say body conscious, I don't just mean tight, because a lot of times people say body conscious, it means tight. It just means I'm always conscious of the body inside these clothes, whether something is super fitted or even away from the body, just the way it falls and makes you feel and moves when you walk and all that stuff. So when you get that woman that just thinks that like she's not that girl, I'm like, oh no, you that girl. Oh no, you're not girl.
Okay.
You just need to try this on and take a look at yourself. That is that's like the best feeling when I see them take themselves in that mirror, and like they know it's like mama look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she do. She do. And so that's the same for me, whether it's like, Angela Bassett. I mean, come on. Angela Bassett looks good, and she can put on a big T-shirt, and she's amazing. But more special for me when that woman that like doesn't feel like she has all that going on for her, and she actually does. You know what I mean? So a lot of things that are just cut out there now in fashion is just like they just don't really celebrate what you have going on in your body. You have a lot more going on than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just put that build in there to like accentuate all that. That just, I love it.
Well, listen, Donna is saying here, Byron, how did you develop your sense of style? What inspires your designs? And then she said they look natural, elegant, and exquisite all at once. How would you address Miss Donna?
Thank you so much for those kudos, Donna. You know, in terms of sense of style, I think of like, you know, probably like every kid the women in your life, in your small life, probably start that journey of like what you see as style in the first place. Because even long before I even knew I was interested in fashion, which honestly, I never thought I was interested in fashion, because when Tracy, the friend that taught me to sew, when I see her working on a jacket for a week, I'm like, God, it's a week and it's one jacket and still, So when she, you know, made me make that pair of pants, I was like, okay, here it goes. But anyway, back to the question, it's just like, I realized that every significant thing, whether it was a great thing in the family or a horrible thing in the family, I, to this day, remember it by what people wore that day or in that experience. I guess I was recording all that stuff in, and I didn't even realize it until, you know, I would be recalling those moments, and I'd be like, you know, mentioning the outfit. It's just like, who cares about the outfit? That was horrible. Like, yeah, but the shoes were really great. So I guess it started like everybody, with my mom, and then my grandma, who, when I was a kid, probably like what you consider like a traditional old lady. That was in the days when, like, you know, seniors just like kind of tapped out. But then she still had these clothes from this time when she was like young and fly and all this stuff in the closet. I guess these were things that like clothes that facilitated moments in her life that she just couldn't part with them, even though like she would never wear them again. And this was kind of like what started like my interest in construction, because she had this gown, this peach gazar gown in the closet. I'm just like, listen, who's going to any place up in here where they need a gown? It was just like, what is this doing here? You know? So the oddity of its existence alone, you know, if I had ever been to fashion, I definitely would have remembered that thing poofing out of the closet from time to time. So, anywho, so I like investigated more closely, and it like I said, it was a bustier, so it was strapless, and that was the first time I felt hard things in there that I like even realized what boning was, because there was like, you know, this hard stuff in there, and I'm like, what is that? And I got a scissor and clipped through a little of like the fluting. I didn't cut the dress, but cut the threads to see what that was. I'm like, wow. So now when I see like these dresses like on the old movies, I'm like, that's how it's staying up. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. But I still wasn't interested in fashion, really. I just thought it was neat that was how those things stayed up.
Yeah.
But again, you know, to be that like this really fly dress from the 50s, and I'm sure in there it like registered someplace in terms of like my style vocabulary. So you know, then by the time I realized that I did actually love this, like in high school and stuff, you know, I'd start going to like Neiman Market, then I Magnum, which was around, and when they would see like this like young dude, you know, with a sketch pad walking around, like just like look, course, they'd investigate, like, what's your deal?
Yeah.
And they were only too happy once they found out. I'm like, look, I want to be a designer. I want to study design. I want to go to fashion school and all this stuff. And there was this one super chic, elderly Black lady. Her name was Bunky. I don't know what her real name was. We called her Bunky. She worked at iMag on the couture floor. And she would be like, what's your deal? I told her. She was just like, oh, then you got to come see this new Valentino that came in here. You got to see how he put these shoulder pads in this dress. You got to see how, and this was like something that, like, this was a level of thoughtfulness in clothes that I never knew that she like opened my eyes to. Like, where like that was in the 80s. It was all about shoulder pads. But remember how like by the end of it, like that's when would end up like I lost
Yeah,
my
like
head.
like a football player, huh? As far as the shoulder pads go.
My Kodak shoulder pads, and they're all, yeah. But she showed me how, like, Mr. Valentino, this is Mr. Valentino, and the man was
Okay.
there, had like a smaller sculpted shoulder pad in the sweater that the coat stacked on top of. You know, the black blazer stacked on top of, that the coat stacked on top of, that like they all were engineered to fit together to stack and not overwhelm the body. And yet could also be worn separately. Even if you wore the coat with none of that under there, there was still enough structure, even though it collapsed slightly, to like really make it look great, whether you wore one independently or all together. I was like, wow, now that's really somebody figuring out all the problems. And that's where a lot of, you know, like my problem solving in design started. And, you know, along with the sense of style, because I feel like that is really what design is. It's solving problems.
Okay.
You know?
Well, you know what, Byron, again, let me encourage y'all ladies to grab cameras and FaceTime you. But Tarsha, I don't want to mispronounce her name. It's either Tarsia or Tarsha, not sure. But anyway, she's saying here, yes, I agree. I wear Byron Lars to work, to church, especially when I travel and I feel like a superstar. And Dr. T is saying I have challenges because I'm tall. The cute clothes seem to be in average sizes. And Lisa is saying Byron is a genius.
Well, thank you all for that. And I mean,
okay, Dr. T is joining us. Great.
Hi.
You are a superstar. So, how
are you?
Yeah, Dr. T is with us.
Hi, hey, Dr. T.
Good. Your clothes are beautiful, by the way.
Well, and so are you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I concur.
And thank you for all your service to humanity right now.
Well, I'm not a medical PhD doctor. I do have a lot of people in my inbox asking me questions, medical questions. I'm like, no, it's academia. So, question. So, can you share with us your celebrity list of your clients?
Oh God, I don't want to forget anybody, but I'm like, of course, Mrs. O is Michelle Obama, Angela Bassett, who Melvin just mentioned, Catherine Winnick for any Game of Thrones fans out there. Oh my gosh,
Taraji P. Yeah.
Then you think too, I'm terrible with celebrity names and all that stuff. It's just like, you know, like sometimes I even like run into them in New York and think that like I know the person, and I'm like, oh no, that's that girl from that show. So, and it's not that they don't. Of course, I appreciate them like I appreciate anybody, but like they have a running list. I don't know how good I'm gonna do here. One was, and then I'll be like, what's the girl on that show? I'm terrible. I'm literally terrible. So I'll as we go on, if I think of one, I'll just like wrap them off.
Okay. Well, I mean, no,
Sorry
that's okay. That's gotta be amazing to, you know, to deal with those type of people. So
Here's the thing about those type of people, though. They're just like us. I mean, I know all celebrities say that. It's just like, I'm just like everybody else. But, you know, when they come to the studio, I don't know what it is about that space that, like, everybody gets super candid. You know what I mean? And I guess it's a pretty, like, intimate situation when you're, like, dressing somebody and they're, like, trusting you with that kind of thing. So they get very open about, you know, their challenges and their fears and all that kind of stuff. And it's, like, really interesting. Because, I mean, in dealing with them, I'm like, boy, we are all out here in these streets trying to make it happen. You know? It's really enlightening, and it really does, like, make you bring a humanity to the superstardom that I am very thankful to have been able to see, because it's just like, you know, when they come in here, they're like, they're not that person, that celebrity. They're like the person they were before all that happened. And it's like, oh, okay. You just, okay. Like Angela Bassett, I'll just call her out as an example, and Lisa Arundel. I mean, they are so personable, like just so. To use the word normal sounds like what does that mean? But just when I mean just like you've known them forever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like those people that you meet that you feel like you've known all your life. Like and one of them who I haven't met yet, and I've dressed, and we keep like missing each other, like we've texted back and forth, is Jill Scott, who I adore. But Jill was like that before I dressed her. I'm like, I feel like I know her. Jill's like, Jill, what's up? You know what I mean? But I guess that's because, I mean, we are all here just like, you know, trying to do what we do and do it to the best of our abilities, and that's it. It's so.
Now I have one last question. One last question, and I get off so somebody else can get on. So, in regards to the models, is that like when you have certain models model your clothes? Do you go like through an agency or something? I actually know somebody that's looking. It's actually my daughter. She's beautiful, and you know how we do as parents, we try to get them out there. So what would be your recommendation on far as agencies, things like that? We looked into a few. At one point, she did apply for American Top Model, and they called her. They did call her. And at the time, she was in school, and she's like, no, Mom, I got to focus on school. But, you know, now she kind of regrets that decision. So what?
You know, this is a question that I get asked quite a bit, and it's like, you know, when I work with models, I'm just a client. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't really know a whole lot about that industry. It's like, I do go to agencies to hire girls, but it's just like, it's like when you need a plumber.
Okay. Do you go like to the top, to the top modeling agencies, like in New York or?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely start with the agency here because, of course, we're here and the girls need to be here. When I work in China and I hire girls there, of course, then I'm going through Chinese agencies that like the photographer like links me to, and that's pretty much how it works.
Okay.
But of course, you know, yeah, that's pretty much it. But what I would say to her though is like, get some great pictures together, by whatever necessary, and send them around to agencies, because if they see potential in her as like, yeah,
that's what she's working on now is her portfolio. So okay, well, thank you. It's nice meeting you. Nice to see you again, Mr. Melvin. Bye.
Bye.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure seeing Dr. D. I have some more work that we're going to have to do together as well. So I just want her to make sure to stay alert. Listen, let me share this with you real quickly, Byron. I see Karen's here, and she's trying to show you something. But just before we talk about that. Cheryl is saying it seems as though you've masterfully blended your initial interest in architecture with fashion. And it's hard for me to see this, it's very small on my screen. Your pieces are art, and I both an amazing collection. And she's asking, who has been your greatest muse? And then you have Ndidi. She says, "I love your clothes, BYRON Lars. I was definitely one of those girls who never thought I could wear your dresses." She's saying, "I will never forget the first time I wore a BYRON Lars dress. I felt like a queen. Thank you for providing such uniquely artsy, classy dresses for all sizes."
Well, thank you guys. So I'll start with the first one, the architecture with fashion. You know what? Yeah, at first when I was in high school and I was telling my parents, I'm like, you know what? I think I want to make dresses, not houses. I thought they would be like, that is sketchy as hell. You need to figure out what you want to do. But ironically, you know what? Who was right there with me and down for it from the start was my dad. My dad was like, you need to do what makes you happy as long as you're not hurting anybody or whatever. And then at the same time, I mean, he saw how dedicated I was to it because I was like sewing my little hands off at the time, making progress, making pants, making whatever I could to make it happen. So, but then I found out later, of course, not much later, that many designers, not least of which is like Cristobal Balenciaga, was also had a background in architecture. Because, I mean, they are kind of like very similar sensibilities. You have to make something that's structurally sound and useful for humanity that is hopefully beautiful. You know what I mean? Those are very like sensibilities, those disciplines. But of course, as a kid, you're like, I don't know what a house has to do with a dress. I don't get it, but this is what I want to do. And here goes. And for the lady that thought she couldn't wear, who's this? Ndidi? Wow, what a beautiful name. You feel like a queen because you are a queen. I'm just happy to have been a part of some, providing something that can facilitate, your seeing yourself that way. So thank you for sharing that. And oops, I don't hear you now. There's something going on technologically. I'm not here in Melbourne right now, but I guess I'll read some of the.
You know what? I'm sorry. I muted myself so there wouldn't be any background noise. What I was sharing, you have Karen, and she's trying to show something here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but if you'll come on and tell BYRON what it is you're trying to show him, Karen.
Hi, can you hear me? Well, I was trying to show you a beautiful picture of your outfit. It has the black. Can y'all not see it? Oh my gosh, I get compliments on every piece I wear. Everyone called me Mrs. BYRON Lars. And then I've got offices, all of my doctor offices, they call me the Black Barbie doll because I wear all of your clothes. I'm so honored to even talk with you. Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure. And the outfit is at Martin Luther King Baptist Church. I have on this black and white hat, the black and white tulle skirt that you made, and then the cummerbund, the big thick cummerbund, and then the black. I can't believe you guys can't see it. I get so many compliments on it.
You know what? It's kind of obscured by the syntax that's on top of it. I'm gonna see if I can. Yeah,
I've got to send it to you some kind of way. So some kind of way I've got to send this to you. But I've got several different pictures. I don't know why it's not showing. But Tarsia, you guys got that name right. That's my girlfriend. She's on here. I couldn't believe y'all pronounced that correctly.
Awesome.
So,
well, listen,
hi, Tarsia, you need to get on here.
Yeah,
I'm not
tell Tell
Well,
Tercia she can get the other camera.
so with us,
She can get the
Yes,
other camera.
she should get on here because her mother is the one that started both of us to wear Byron Lars. So yes,
her mom. Now there's her
yes.
mom.
So the three of us, we are the sharpest people in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, and they tell us that too.
That is awesome.
So thank you so much for designing such beautiful clothes. We love you. I can't get on there because my hair is not done. I've been in quarantine, but I'm still wearing Byron Lars. You should see what I have on.
Please send those pictures though to our Instagram. I mean, that would be great.
I will.
I'd love to share them sometime.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Also, Donna Epps is saying I was inspired by a dress you designed for Jill Scott, and she's saying she had to have a Byron Lars design. So she saw something that you did for Jill. That's Donna Epps, and she said she had to get a design. And Dee Dee is saying thank you, and Tercia is saying yes. I guess that's something. She says. One is the Black Barbie. She has almost every piece you've ever designed. Wow.
Well, thank you for keeping me in business, girl. Yeah, it's so funny. Like even through all this, it's like there's been women shopping on the website because I guess you know what when things are like all crazy or whatever, man, sometimes you just need a bright spot and treat yourself and like I said, put something on and see yourself look like you did before any of this happened.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that. That started to help me kind of to reconcile what I was doing and out of the realm of essential, worker to just seeing like all that happen. And also even with regard to that, women like supporting us and me and other businesses and this whole Takeout Tuesday where you support like a restaurant in your neighborhood that like manages to stay open, like with takeout or whatever. It brought me back to like when 9/11 happened many years ago. I was much younger and I had a much younger friend then too, was an art dealer. And, everything shut down here. I mean, we were like, what has just happened? How am I even going to get out of bed tomorrow? Because this was just, and he was in the middle of closing a deal with some painting that was like, I don't even know how many thousands and thousands of dollars with one of his clients who, after 9/11, had decided, I should probably not be investing my money this way right now. Who knows what's going to happen? And I will never forget my friend's response named Stephen Terrell. He's like, no, what you're going to do is you're going to buy this painting from me today. And I'm going to take that commission and I'm going to go across the street and I'm going to buy 5 shirts. And they're going to take my money. And you know what I mean? And he just really broke it down for that client. I'm like, well, because he's an amazing salesman. But it really did speak to like what we have to do to keep things going. You know what I mean? So it's not like everybody can just bunker down and just like, hibernate and not engage. It's going to take all of us actively participating in each other's businesses, whatever that is, just to get this economy, going on any level that it can be once we come out of this. And not even once we come out of this, even now, if anybody's fortunate enough to be able to. And I'm seeing that online. So I just really am very thankful to those women who are doing that. We're very appreciative. And please know that, like, you know what? We're paying it forward in that way because that's all we can do.
I must not let this pass. Donna Epps is reminding you that you guys are friends from Brooks College. Brooks College.
Now
Yes.
I know the Donna. Hey, Donna.
Yeah.
Wow, Donna, it has been years and years and years since I've seen you. And hey, girl. Hang on in there. We're going to be all right.
So listen, I promise you 30, and we've stolen 40 minutes of your time. And I just want to, unless you have something else that you, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. But as I said, I don't want to be greedy. And you've been so gracious to share. Indeed, but as we get ready to close, I have to share these with you, Byron. Donna is saying two different Donnas. Has many friends named Donna, and indeed is saying, can you describe any experience of discrimination you may have faced in your career, your clothes, cater to women from a diverse background? And she was saying, I was just wondering if you could speak to the issue of race and how that may have impacted you, or people surprised, I'm sorry, that a Black male is behind such a successful, beautiful line. Excellent question.
You know, it would be ridiculous to say that like there aren't certain inequities in fashion with regard to diversity, because it's just a fact. It's what it is. In terms of any experience that I've had directly, I mean, outside of like maybe being at, a public appearance where I'm there with my clothes and having someone, not Black who pushes past me to get to me, only to find out that I'm the guy that they came to see. Beyond anything like that, I really haven't directly experienced anything that I thought was, but it would be probably ridiculous to think that like it hadn't happened, because, it's just, it happens. But I'm very thankful to report that I have not been in a situation where it was irrefutable, where I was like face to face with, here it is. Although maybe it would even have been better that way, like when you're face to face with some things, because they're just like, oh, okay, well, that's what this is. But I have to really approach everything the way, I don't know if everybody knows Patrick Kelly. He was like first American designer, not just Black, first American designer be accepted in the Champs Syndical, which is like the Parisian, like official designer club. I mean, to really like put it in its perspective in layperson's terms. And he, because my former business partner was also his business partner, would always say, when people would be like, well, what's it like to be a Black designer? And his patented answer was like, well, I don't know. I've never been a white designer. And that's really how I have to kind of approach everything, and how I think probably anybody would be best approaching everything that you endeavor, that like you don't acknowledge any unlevel playing field, because then it could put you in a headspace that's just not conducive to creating and doing your best. It's not about turning a blind eye at all. I mean, these things exist and they are out there, but I have to say, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me here now in this moment with this dress form, working out this problem. You know what I mean? To like give my customer, who doesn't care whether I'm green, blue, purple, or whatever, the best dress I can give them.
Donna Epps has joined us, but just before you and Donna have a reunion, just before you and Donna have a reunion, can I just share with you? Cheryl was paying a compliment. She's simply saying, I greatly appreciate when you revive pieces that have sold out. She says, please do more. Now the floor belongs to you and Donna.
Hey, hi, Byron. How are you?
Hey, Donna.
And guess what, Byron? I have a BYRON LARS dress. Yes. One, I think two. Yes. So I have followed your career, and I'm so proud of you. And I can say I knew you win.
Oh, that I told you about who taught me how to make the pants is her good friend. It's Tracy, like way back in the day.
I miss my friend Tracy.
Ironically.
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Well, listen, before you go, let's talk about some of these Barbies.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of these Barbies before you go. Here's one. I have several here with me that I commandeered from the wife. I have to handle them very, very delicately, unless I want a sheep in the backyard. So if we'll talk, if you don't mind, if we can talk a little bit about these Barbies, man.
Oh yes. Love them.
You know, that was one of those things where like this person from Mattel, and it's Wendy McCollum, she's no longer there, but she was the one that had this idea like, listen, we need to get a black designer in here to do some black. Uh-oh. I think
there you go.
Okay, there I am. Sorry. I think my phone is running out of power here. So I guess this will be last question. But in any case, yeah, she was like, listen, it'd be crazy for us not to get this black designer to do some black Barbies, a black Barbie, because it was a single doll deal. And I was like, yeah, heck yeah. And, you know, that was like, just in the early-ish 90s, like 94, somewhere around there. And boy, you know, like their idea of what Barbie was, like they had her so narrow. It was just like, it was just, they just had her so boxed in that it was like, I have to tell you, that first experience was not super positive. The design team there, they were super creative and super down to do something new and something else. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Let's trick her out and take her. But then when it gets to these meetings, they just be like, you know, Barbie needs to wear a dress. She can't wear pants. Barbie needs to do this and she can't do that. I was just like, you know what, you guys are killing me here. And, you know, we ultimately worked through all that for the first doll. And then, you know, it sold out really fast and well. And that was just supposed to be it. That was it. But then the numbers were so impressive that they came back for one. And I was just like, okay. And it ultimately got a little easier and easier because I guess the more success you have, the more freedom you're given. And then one of the corporate heads had kind of retired. And then this guy came in and was like, listen, I'm dude. All I care about is numbers. And that really opened up the possibilities so much. And that's when that whole African collection happened. And that was when I was able to do that Alec Weck black Barbie that was like charcoal black, because up until then, they've been fighting. They're like, we can't photograph her. I'm like, but of course you can. If they can photograph this live person, you can photograph this doll. And then, but once all that opened up and we were able to do it, man, it was just really super great. And I've met so many women who have identified with any particular one of the dolls. It's like, you know, of course, if it looks like them, it's like her complexion, her texture, hair, whatever. It's like, hey, this one is me. And like, thank you for that. And I never realized how big that was until women started coming up to me, because I was just trying to make some fly dolls. I'm like, hey, what about one like this? What about one like that? And then when they were just like, this one woman had tears in her eyes, you know, like when we did the super dark one, because she had never had, you know, any doll that looked like her that was, you know, that fly. So, anywho, that was a real super blessing, and I am so thankful for like that whole Barbie run, because we had a good run.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think my phone is about to die.
Listen,
guys.
It's been great. I see Karen is showing some of her Barbie dolls that she's gotten, and Donna, I'm glad you jumped on to FaceTime. And we want to thank all of our visitors. And we just Byron, let me tell you, I have several monitors up here, man, and the thumbs and hearts have been just going wild. So you have been a huge hit, my brother. And I just want to thank you so very much for joining in with us. And we thank all of our subliminal guest, if I can say that in a kind way, because we're happy that you're here. But Byron, just before you run out of juice, if some of our individuals want to contact you or and talk more about your fashions or purchase some fashions or some dolls, how might they contact you?
Oh gosh, now see, now you put me on the spot with the Instagram. I have no idea.
We just tell them to go to BYRON LARS Beauty Mark.
Or no, it's not, because somebody had taken that from us. You know how that gets all sketchy and stuff when people are like, it's BYRON LARS BM.
Okay.
BYRON, that's our IG handle. So if you want to inbox me that way, that's great. And
no, I understand. I understand.
Even though I'm on right now,
I understand. Listen,
you got people for that. You got people for that.
There you go. There you go, Donna.
One person for that. An awesome job.
There you go, Donna. That's what I was just fixing to say. He's got people for that.
That's right.
So listen, guys, it's been great. We want you to join us every Friday night at 7:00 p.m. We have humongous guests. Next week, we will have Mr. Guy Butler, called Forever Dad. He's been on Good Morning America. He's been all, and he adopts these children. But it's been great. So listen, thank all of you for being here with us. You can find me at, we always give out a number, 440-935-0374, 440-935-0374, or you can catch us on our email. My website is under construction right now, but our email is the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show @gmail.com. The Nobody Asked Me Guy Show @gmail.com. And please, guys, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel. That just simply look up Melvin Lars, and please subscribe to our channel. It's been great, and we want to thank each and every one for joining us. And please come back and join us again. Have a great, wonderful, and blessed night.
Thank you.